Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Olaoluwa Fajimi. I'm a portfolio GP and training program director in Coventry. One of the questions many have been asking is what differences exist between a leadership activity, a QIP and a QIA. In fact, I've had a lot of people reaching out to me saying they've had non-standard outcomes in their ARCP because what they thought was a QIP was actually a leadership activity, and what they thought was a QIA was a leadership activity. So it's clear that a clear distinction needs to be made between what constitutes a leadership activity and what constitutes a QIA. Let me just add that a QIA and a QIP are types of leadership activities. However, in the context of your 14 fishy portfolio, they are clearly spelled out differently. Now, the difference between a leadership activity and a quality improvement is data. If whatever you've done does not involve you collecting data to look at your own performance or the performance of a wider team, then it's likely a leadership activity. Looking at the RCGP website, for instance, they've listed a few things that are leadership activities, and those are you chairing a practice meeting, for instance, you doing a practice leaflet review, you being involved in the design of your practice website, you doing a clinical protocol, whether you're doing it right from scratch or whether you're reviewing an existing one. All those things don't involve you looking at your own data. They don't involve you looking at the data of a wider team. So those are leadership activity. A QIA, on the other hand, is you looking at your own practice. You're looking at the data you've generated by virtue of your own practice, and then you're looking to improve on them. And how you're looking at them is that you're assessing your own performance and you're making changes to them. For instance, you may choose to review your last 10 or 22 weeks referral and compare them to the national average in terms of their yield rate. And if you fall significantly behind the national average, you're going back to look at the appropriateness of those referral. You're looking at yourself, that's a QIA. You're looking at your last 10 antibiotics prescribing, for instance, you're looking at how in conformity they are with your national and your local guidance. That will be a QIA. For instance, looking at the appropriateness of your inhaler prescribing. Do they meet the NICE and the SIGN guidelines in terms of the clinical picture of the patient you've seen? Is that the next line in terms of those inhalers you prescribed? That would be a QIA. A QIP, on the other hand, is you looking beyond yourself. You're looking at the wider team. You're looking at issues pertaining to the wider team, and you're looking at the data available to decide how your wider team is doing, and then you're taking steps to rectify that. You're then testing again to see the effect of the steps you've taken, and based on that outcome, you're then making recommendation to your wider team, be it your practice or to your secondary care team, and then you yourself, you're reflecting on what you've learned along the way. For instance, one common one is green surgeries, greener surgery. If you're looking at the carbon footprint of your surgeries, for instance, you can decide to measure that, and there are apps available to do that. If you've done that and you've seen that you're not doing well on that, you can then raise awareness on that. Raising awareness on that could be by you presenting at the practice meeting to present what you have found. It could be by you then taking actions on that, saying, okay, you're going to be moving your patient from inhalers that contain high amount of carbon to those that contain low amount of carbon. And once you're done with your intervention, you will then test again to see what effect your interventions have had, and then you can then make recommendations to the wider team and then reflect on it yourself. Another is how your practice adheres to antibiotics prescribing for sore throat, for instance. How much of antibiotics are you giving out? Do they meet the fever pain criteria or not? You create awareness on that, and then you retest again. How you follow up your patient with pre-diabetic, what kind of counseling is offered to them. You test that, you intervene, you test again to see the effect of your intervention. How are you monitoring your drug? Your patients who are on antidepressants, for instance, who need long-term contraceptives. Many of those have been offered that. You bring that to the notice, you intervene, then you test again. For instance, your patients who are on PSA monitoring, how many of them are being followed up? You intervene, you test again. Your patients who have had a gastric band surgery done, many of them are in compliance with the BOMS guideline in terms of the vitamins and the mineral supplements they should be having, and in terms of their annual blood, you intervene and you test again. So that will be the difference between a QIA and a QIP. Don't forget though, when you've done your QIA and your QIP, make sure to put them in the place allocated to them on your 14 Fish E portfolio, such that the panel doesn't struggle to look for them when you're having your ARCP panel. If you've liked this video, please do not hesitate to subscribe, comment on them, share your thoughts, let's interact, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you.